Time for business news now, and we're starting with Joe Biden's State of the Union speech, one that projected confidence on his record so far and on his agenda moving forward. Well, Charles Pellegrino, our business editor, is here in studio to help us make sense of all of that.
Hi, Sharon. Absolutely. Confidence, definitely the word to best describe him as he stood up to jeers from Republicans. And a confidence that is, to a certain extent, backed by the data, although a lot of the good news that has more to do with economic conjecture than specific policies. The disruptions of 2022, the war in Ukraine and its impact on global inflation have led to fears of recession in many economies, but this has not materialized so far. Biden touted his own record since he became president in 2021, pointing to the resilience of the American economy, with annual inflation slowing down to 6.5% in December after hitting a peak of over 9% in June, and to the strong job market. Biden said in his speech that over 12 million jobs have been created since he took office. He also invested in bringing back manufacturing to the country with the $370 billion in subsidies for green technology included in the Inflation Reduction Act and the $52 billion in subsidies for semiconductors included in the CHIPS Act. And he supported consumers in the health sector by cutting drug prices for seniors on Medicare. Now, he's got more on his plate going forward, though. First off, the crucial issue of haggling with the Republican Party in order to raise the $34.1 trillion debt ceiling. He might have moved the needle on this by forcing Republicans in Congress during the speech to say they didn't want to cut social programs. His solution to reducing the deficit includes enacting new taxes on wealth, whether it's increasing the tax on corporate share buybacks or enforcing one on the unrealized gains of billionaires. And finally, he also pledged to increase regulation of social media platforms when it comes to data privacy, especially for kids. Well, whether it's his record or his agenda, Biden presented it as a general approach to shore up the American economy to better compete with China. Take a listen.
I will make no apologies that we're investing to make America stronger, investing in American innovation and industries that will define the future that China intends to be dominating, investing in our alliances and working with our allies to protect advanced technologies so they will not be used against us. Today, we're in the strongest position in decades to compete with China or anyone else in the world.
And some corporate results now. French oil giant TotalEnergies following in the footsteps of other Western oil majors this Wednesday in itself, posting the highest annual profits in its history at $20.5 billion. Without the losses incurred by retreating from its Russia businesses, that number would have stood at $36.2 billion. The group, benefiting from skyrocketing oil and gas prices in the wake of the war in Ukraine, the results will likely lead to more calls for additional taxes on super profits. And let's take a look at the markets now. European marketplaces opening higher this Wednesday, this after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell spoke on Tuesday, saying he expects the disinflation process to be a long one and cautioned that interest rates could rise further. As you can see, the FTSE in London up almost 0.7%. And we're seeing mixed trading in Asia, with shares on Japan's Nikkei falling on the back of disappointing results from Nintendo, Sharp, and SoftBank. The Nikkei closing at just under 0.3%. Shares on the Nifty 50 stock exchange, though, in Mumbai, trading higher after the Indian Central Bank raised its key interest rate by 25 basis points in line with expectations. That's the slowest rate hike since May. And staying in the U.S., finally, it's finally time for Microsoft search engine Bing to rise up to the level of Google. The company is fusing technology from AI powerhouse ChatGPT into Bing in order to revamp internet searches. A preview of the new engine has been launched for desktop users who sign up for it. Microsoft made the announcement at an event in Richmond on Tuesday, just a day after Google announced it was launching its own AI search bot called Bard. Solange Mougin has the details.
It's an AI race that's reinvigorating the tech world. On Tuesday, Microsoft announced it's integrating artificial intelligence into its search engine Bing and its internet browser Edge.
I think that this technology is going to reshape pretty much every software category. The web was born on the PC and the server, and then it evolved with mobile and cloud. And now the question is, how is AI going to reshape the web?
Since its first billion-dollar investment in 2019 in OpenAI, which is the maker of ChatGPT, Microsoft has invested billions more in the startup, hoping to get a head start over other companies. The tech giant's aim is to become #1 in search and AI integration by making search requests more conversational. But Microsoft still has a steep hill to climb when it comes to eating away at Google's dominance. Bing only accounts for 3% of global searches, and it makes some $3 billion from ad revenue from search and news, while Google Search has some 93% of the market and gathers a revenue of over $42 billion. For Microsoft, every percentage point gained could bring in $2 billion in revenue. So the investment and the reputational risk of integrating AI could quickly become profitable. But Google, too, is in the race. Following the viral success of ChatGPT after its launch last November, Google announced on Monday that it, too, has a rival called Bard in the works, a launch quickly checkmated by Microsoft's Tuesday announcement.
So the race for AI search bots definitely on, as well in China, where Baidu, the search engine giant there, has also launched its own service.
Charles, thank you so much from that. That's Charles Pellegrin, our business editor.